no bet you didn't expect to see me here. Or did you? I don't even know anymore because it was a last minute switch up. But hey, I'm here to watch Gospel versus Envy, and so is Ghosty at 4:30 here right now. We got set 1 Dredge on Midwich Elementary, set 2 Plague on Suffocation Pit 1, and a tiebreaker of Ghoul on Suffocation Pit 1. As we do load into the match, it is going to be the Danger Man Cash, and we know what his Dredge is capable of after having it been played for a couple weeks now. It is a very popular pick amongst Gospel, and I'm just excited to see what really transpires throughout these events. However, we are going to be going straight into that locker. No field recorder shenanigans this time around, and for the survivors, they love to see that because it just makes for such a really rough start to the game. Means that Cash needs to work a little bit harder throughout the start of the game, but that should not be a problem for him as he is currently in his lockers. He is waiting for a survivor to imminently approach and commence the first chase of the game. He's played very patiently and has caught Sane in a spot where he did not know that Cash was lurking nearby. We have ran into him momentarily. That is going to be the first tag of the match. Now, do we use the God Palette and has it actually spawned in the map? I guess we'll never know. And we're just going to teleport straight down to top 1 and then all the way into Courtyard and see if we can get our tags up and running to get our Nightfall quicker. But as we do that, Nightfall approaching and fast straight back into that locker. We're catching Sane again once more. Really trying to cut him off just before the God Palette there, and he has not sent it down to the God Palette. So maybe, just maybe we get this tag straight through top 11, do we? We do, because we haven't thrown the pallet. We haven't even tried. And I think I saw in the corner of my eye somebody ready for that save, and I believe... was that Slay just there? Maybe, I'm not too sure, but I didn't get quite a good look at that. Regardless, Cash going to be emerging from the lockers over at top 1, and he does see the Killer Instinct over in top 12. Who is this survivor? It's going to be our Ace and Shades dropping down from that whole Mango with Balanced Landing in hand, you would assume. So Cash doesn't want any of that. He's just happy to knock the locks off the lockers and has just teleported straight to Macca's, as we do call it, bottom 7. Has caught out Haxel here, who's making his grand return into the survivor side of competitive DBD. Cash going to be emerging from that bottom locker and then commencing the chase back onto Sane, who's pre-dropped the pallet. And it's spawned here over at bottom 11, so it's favorable towards us, but we've been just caught off guard after Cash teleporting into that locker over at bottom Courtyard, and there's absolutely bugger all to be working with here, Ghosty. I think he just goes down, and this is looking very close to being a quick tunnel out.
Oh yeah, no, not a single generator's popping. Nightfall has already come and gone, but not much Male Thinker skull value, I don't think, since we've only managed to get the injure onto Sane. But this is a Deathlock Survivor at 5. This is not what you are wanting if you're on the Survivor side of, I believe, Envy for this first one. And Cash is pulling off a show for Gospel's set pick, I believe, as well. So definitely the start that we want to see for our second series of the day. Giving a few kicks and some locker removals so that we can then get back into things, hopping back into our lockers so that we can see if we can bait our subs come through. And it looks like, unfortunately, for Slay, it has not paid off for them. Cash waiting very patiently, lurking in the lockers, getting another tag onto Slay. And this could be another quick down if we are not careful. We don't have anything to work with, no pallets, no wood in any form of line of sight. So this is another down for Cash. And this is where it gets dangerous. We do spot Mango back on the top 12 side, and we've gone for a big swing through the pallet, which connects as well. So we have got we've got a Ninja Survivor, a Slug, and poor Sane on the hook, nearly close to dying. And it looks like we will be securing the first death of the trial at 5. We do see, though, our Adam has managed to get a lot of progress on their generator as well. We don't have Ruin or anything like that in play, which you would see sometimes on a Dredge set, with Midwich Totems not being the worst and Dredge being a killer that can traverse the map incredibly well, but not this time around. But it was not needed. Sane will be removed from the trial, and we have gone straight back to that generator that our Adam was working as well. So we have got all of our remaining up survivors both injured, and Slay still slow, deploying our Eruption now onto this gen that we had Adam working on, and now I'm pretty sure only gen now with progress we are using in the remnants for the mind game, and get to down onto our Adam as well, with Eruption now applying on that top 8 gen as well. This is very problematic for Team Envy. Mango is our only remaining survivor at this stage of the trial. We don't even really need to pick up at this point. We could just end it right here and right now. And Mango has been called out on our bottom 5. So Hunter, our first match is a 4k5 potentially, as long as we get all of our slugs off the ground and onto hooks. What just happened?
It's a 4K, yeah, it's a 4K 5 regardless. Given the fact that do still want to find your 2 fresh hooks, because on the off chance and then he does 4K 5 the next match, he will not be taken away this set, which is looking extremely unlikely. I think what has happened here is just the start game was not strong. You did see an early tag coming in from Sane, and he just wasn't able to reground his footing. And even with a very bad start to the game, it is still definitely able to be brought back. I think we played a little bit too preemptive on his death hook save. So Slay just going down over at top 10 did not aid the team at all, unfortunately. It did lead them to be in a state of panic because they already had another injure on the board. I'm not too sure if there was anybody healthy at that point in time, but it would have meant a hook that's on death hook, a slug right next to that hook, and then all of a sudden Cash is putting on the pressure, the momentum over on the opposite side of the map and just making sure he was getting his downs in, and then just ultimately taking advantage of the scenario at hand. He just was able to never really miss a chase and make them as short as he needed to. It's just basic things where I feel, all right, and he's up against a very strong lineup. New Cash, Gibbs, the Addict. I think this was very similar to the last one he went up against when he played last season for Cat Jam. They did go up against Gospel, or I should say we did go up against Gospel because I was on Cat Jam at the time, and he unfortunately only got the pleasure of meeting 4 or 5 stages. They played immensely well, and amongst some of the only survivors to ever out his dredge. Alongside with of recent events, I guess Omen was another team that did that, and I think last season he SurSmonk did have another dress. Was it against Reactor where he 4K'd? There was another one, but he's notoriously known for getting those 4K 2s, and unfortunately that will not be enough today. He needs a 4K 5, and even if he was to kill all the survivors and then himself as the killer, he would still not meet the win condition because it does not count. But let's see what he can pull out of the hat here. Hopefully he can you know what, at least put up a respectable result to keep the team's morale and his head up high. And, you know, we just got to go into that next set, which will be Plague. Guns are swinging, guns are blazing, and hands are swinging, yes. But first chase up coming on to Gibbsy, who is the returning man to Gospel. He is going to be taking the first chase here over at bottom 8. Has decided to drop this God pallet and tried to make down into the upstairs window, and he has done nicely. He is going to be trying to use that music room, notoriously known music room. If he gets a tag on the wrong side, he is forced to just kind of run back into 8, and he's done so very, very well timed, because if he was caught a little bit later on the swing, he would have been forced into the backside of that music room, and that's just a horrid location, especially with the judge's Remnant. But speaking of Remnant, that's a nice placement for SurSmonk, and that is also a nice down. As per build, we have brought in the likes of Sloppy Butcher, Corrupt Intervention, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Eruption, something a little bit more conventional. Something you saw last... Wait, is that...
Isn't that Thrilling Tremors?
Thrilling Tremors, it's not Corrupt Intervention, yeah. Did we see Corrupt last time around? Or, yeah, we saw Corrupt, which was, I thought was like unconventional. Yeah, it's a Survivor underneath the crabs there. It's not the Generator. Oh my god, I need to get my eyesight checked, but... Okay, that's interesting. I'm not too sure. Was that a mistake or was that actually intended? But you know what? We vibe with it, I guess. We run with it. SurSmonk is going to be going off of that hook onto Gibbsy, trying to put the pressure amongst the map, but it's just too far gone. Listen to all the progress that's happening over towards top 9 as you do get the bottom side generator done. Cash going to be eating a tag here. So... following up, SurSmonk does not decide to go back for his tunnel out. He's pretty content with chasing Cash. He's going to try to cut him off here at the window, but it's not going to work out in any regard. We also have the likes of a body block from Addict if we do need it. He is there for when we choose to do so. What the hell is that, Jiggy? Okay, and he's made the window again back into the classrooms with the desk. This is a nasty looking pallet, but at least it's not the empty classroom that we all once upon a time knew, and really trying to bait out that Remnant there, but does not work out in his favor. He will be eating a tag, which is going to allow SurSmonk to get into Nightfall just a little bit quicker. However, we are already in Nightfall, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. But Addict playing very well amongst his distance, does pre-drop the pallet over at bottom 11, and has 10 to be working with as well. Do we elect to chase this? We do. SurSmonk still trying to catch him out in a really bad spot. Going to be playing around the pallet as we've relinquished the pallet possession, and if we play the Remnant correctly, that just will spell the down, and that is Addict on the floor. So that'll be another hook allocated towards us to kind of further facilitate maybe a 4K. It is still looking pretty good for Sir Smonk, and he is going to be getting this hook over at bottom 10. But the question is, where does he go from here? Top 2 checking it out, and we're going to be seeing our Sable, Nu, who is going to be slamming out 12, but it's only about 50% of the way done. He's going to take his distance and go down towards more 3 section of the map, and once he's the killer teleport back, he's going to be straight hopping back on top of that. So it's a little bit of a stalemate for Smonk. He is going to be seeing these scratch marks here for a preemptive save. If Sir Smonk never returned, that save would have been happening, and he has intercepted it here. So he's diverted the survivor back into the top half of the map where we do see more scratch marks. I don't think this was the one going for the save, but we have interrupted a gen nonetheless. So it's really trying to put the match to a halt, as we do want to camp out to the second stage onto Addict ideally, but underneath his nose it's going to be our survivor Cash, who seems to be the MVP of these red sets right now. He's playing absolutely out of his mind, especially in the killer match alongside with the survivor match. He's putting on the jets, as I like to say, but we're going to be seeing Nu just back on that generator over at 12. He's going to be pre-chopping this pallet here, but eating a tag over it. That's going to force him straight back into 3, which was his path the other time beforehand. Going to try and cut him off. Sir Smonk does not cut him off. Wait a second. Balance landing. He's away. He's going to try to make to the God pallet over at 5 or potentially into 7 to play the locker rooms if it hasn't spawned and he knows it. But it looks like to us that the pallet has spawned. RNG's, this is on our side, is in our favor. Sir Smonk going to be placing that Remnant, but he is not going to be using it, as we have just W'd away straight to the stairs. Nu playing for his life right now, has made an incredible chase out of it, but has the window to be working with as well. Remnant goes up at the window, and we've slow vaulted to try and go back into the Remnant, but we've been caught. And that will be Nu down on the floor for the 3rd stage of the trial here, Ghosty.
No, under the circumstances of what you come into a set with a 4K5 tight condition as your win con, so Smonk has played this very well, and I'm starting to see why Thrilling Tremors may have been the bring-in perk for Sir Smonk. With Dredge's TP capabilities and Thrilling Tremors blocking all generators that survivors are not working on, it's just literally free information for Sir Smonk to know exactly where they need to be teleporting once they've gotten their hooks going through. Obviously, we do need to get those hooks and pickups to get value out of it, but I can kind of see what you're cooking up here, Smonk. I like it. I do like it, especially with a killer like Dredge, but Nu with balance landing once again, making it all the way through the courtyard, holding a good amount of distance, but we do have this locker to cut them off at the 5 infirmary, but with a vault of Sable from Nu, they managed to slip away, so we're going to have to break this God pallet in our infirmary and try and cut Nu off from the top side. But it looks like Nu read it very well and just held the bottom side towards one of our pallets, and so Smonk just had to drop it. No, we've done a quick little flick back and gone straight back towards Nu to try and get our down again onto them and secure a death hook survivor. With 4 generators remaining, I have to give credit to you. We still have 4 gens remaining at this stage, and the Remnant still being there. Caster says 3 generators still remaining. With the Remnant still placed, it will lead to the down onto Nu, and it looks like Sir Smonk is not done yet. They want more. Unfortunately, that will lead to the 3rd generator of the trial popping. And this classroom pallet, which I will not lie, I've actually never seen before. This is the first time I've actually got to see this new pallet in Midwich with the whole RNG changes with pallets and stuff. But that'll be another tag onto Gibbsy, and it looks like we'll be looking at going for our pick onto Nu. This is where I think what the whole point of Thrilling Tremors is, even though Sir Smonk doesn't have a quick little check around, but there is that lingering effect of the gens being blocked, and we saw that there's only 1 gen at the moment that is still uncovered, so this is the only generator still being worked by a survivor, but it looks like they have now pre-let go and left our top 8 side to not afford another tag towards Sir Smonk. Gibbsy's still injured as well, what we want to be, and Sloppy Butcher there to slow that down as well, and we're going to be smacking that generator with, I believe, Pop was still active, but regardless, Eruption being applied to it. This could be still a very good result for Sir Smonk if we can keep this momentum going. We need to try and get Nu out of the trial ASAP to try and get that 3v1 going as soon as possible, because Dredge in a 4v1 with 1 gen remaining, it's going to be incredibly tough, but we do manage to get straight back into chase with Nu, and they do have Gibbsy there as well, but Gibbsy doesn't have a health state, so not exactly a hit taker you'd want to be having due to not having that. And a beautiful Remnant hit by Sir Smonk, even though it does lead to a small hole, it means that Nu will be going down, and Gibbsy's not out of trouble yet as well. They are also stuck on the library side, so this will be a down onto Gibbsy as well. 2 for 1. Thank you, Midwich. Thank you, survivors. And I'm sorry, but we've had Addict here as well in the library side as well, so we have a 3rd survivor here as well to try and play for and get a 3rd slug happening. Yes, the win con has been met, but So Smart could be looking at a still an incredibly good result here with two survivors slugged, both in the library. Addict now in chase along our top side, does have the window to play for. Our fourth generator does pop in the background, so we do have one gen remaining, and it looks like Smoke wants to cash in the kill onto Nu, and potentially the second stage onto Gibbsy as well, but oh my god, that was a lot of things going on right there to Descent Hunt. So two slugs at library, a tag onto Addict. This is where I think you'd want to be in, like the position you'd want to be in if you were to Smoke right now, pushing for what looks to be that 4K1.
Yeah, he's closing in on it right now, but has to commit to this chase here onto Addict, who is playing around the pallet very well, greeting that, and then straight back into the classrooms is absolutely bugger all to be working with. So there's still classrooms that spawn with no pallet there, and we are going to be just traversing back into bottom 8, but to no avail. There is just no pallet, nothing, no resource, no window to our disposal. Straight back on the floor on the Slug 2 to keep up the pressure. I like it. Still has. Pop goes the Weasel in his back pocket. Eruption as well. So after waiting for the Thrilling Tremors to come off that generator after getting a hook, we are going to be seeing it into effect once more. Look, top 5 being blocked, bottom 10 being blocked, and no, yeah, top 2 is not going to be blocked. So after getting that hook, Addict straight back onto top 2. I'm sorry, Monk straight back onto top 2. Going to be breaking the gen here too. Eruption put onto that generator. Gibbsy's still injured, I'd like to point out as well. So at some point, these survivors need to be going for that reset. And Cash needs to last long enough to make it happen. I mean, does only have this drop pallet and a dream, but that will be the tag that we definitely do need. Monk, yeah, playing the conventional dredge gameplay here. As, oh, we've caught the reset out, but we've swung into nothing, and we've downed nobody. Oh, it's heartbreaking, and the Remnant goes up straight at the doorway to catch off Gibbsy for when he does imminently vault this window. We have to time it correctly, but we're not able to. It's pretty rough, but a little bit of shakes from Monk, and I'm wondering why he's so frustrated with himself. It does happen, I guess. There's the locker. It's going to take us a little bit to get out of it. Otherwise, we really would have caught Addict in such a bad spot, and this would have been the 4K1. But he lives to see another day just for a little bit longer. Playing extra greedy through the pallet and does win the 50 there, not getting hit through it. The ping on our side, and he is going to be rotating up those stairs. Catch forced to go for that pickup onto Gibbsy. I don't think he can commit the generator right now, and Monk's pretty comfortable in chasing this. There goes up with Gibbsy. He's back in the trial. Do they go for the reset? Do they go for the pressure? Because it's just going to be rinse, repeat downs, but they know they have to reset. That's Cash healthy. Gibbsy going to be healthy too as well. So this is really going to aid the survivors and slow the game down. But unfortunately, that will be Addict exiting the trial here. Now, Monk knows if they would have picked up around 8, they will probably be on the bottom half of the map here. And it all depends if Gibbsy did crawl away at some point. So we're really trying to sniff them out, hear them out. Back on bottom 9, not really getting any line of sight onto any survivors at the moment. But with that being said, I dare say Monk is just going to play the tags here, as there's no real reason to overcommit anybody after you get one, because that means a gen will just be popping in front of your face if the survivors last long enough. Straight back into the lockers there. Cash smartly saving his life, I'm pretty sure. I'm not quite too sure. I could be just talking out my butt, but maybe he's just denying the, yeah, he doesn't have life. What am I on about? We're going to be following up here over at bottom 5 after no God pallet over at bottom 5. He's going to be eating that tag, and then Monk's just going to be going back to that generator, probably bottom 9 if the one here at top 3 is not being worked, or he's probably even a little bit confident that he could down Cash in time, as there's nothing really within this area. We do have a pallet to be dropped here over at bottom 1 and one over at bottom 2, but we had a he has to play the counteracting movements here, and Smonk is pretty good with his Remnant placement. This should just be the down. Oh, and it's just Cash on the floor here. Smonk straight back on the case over towards the other half of the map, where we're potentially trying to cut off Gibbsy rotating off a generator, as opposed of just teleporting back to a generator that has been worked. But we hear nothing. We see nothing. What's happening now? We hear Killer Instinct, but I do believe that's just Cash on the floor. Oh no, it is Gibbsy going for the pickup there. In a little bit of moonwalks, he knows that the game is kind of too far done. I'm not too sure what's happening here, but this will just be the 4K1 that Monk was looking for. So we knew he was a 4K machine. A little bit of moonwalks. I don't really know what's happening, but That will be Gibbsy on the floor. Yeah, 4K1 against Gospel. He got his revenge this time around. It's just unfortunate that the survivors over at Envy weren't able to really pull a better result as far as our survivor set goes. I mean, 4K5, just it's the worst possible result you could get, unfortunately, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. However, this is uplifting. This is exactly what we need to go into the Plague with smiles on our faces here. Ghosty.
Oh, 100%. And I have to say, I'm a big fan of the crab skin.
Hello, everybody, and sorry for a little bit longer of the wait. Yes, we were having Sheets issues, and hopefully it's all done. You probably would have seen it throughout the loading screen where it's like, hang on, why are the scores consistently changing, and where's the set point? Well, it should be fine now, or close to it at the very least. But regardless, it's going to be Haxel on the killer here. So we thought Sir Smonk for Envy, but no, the man, the myth, the legend, straight off the rip on the Plague. I think this is his first match in a very long time, as we do take the infection rate onto the window. We do not opt for the tag. We want to get our infection in nice and early and opt to even leave this after the first chase. So textbook stuff from the Plague here. You know, finding a chase that early on as far as Plague sets goes really does put Haxel here on the front foot. Does see the scratch marks also leading into 7, but does not opt to really commit it too hard. He's just going to be, yeah, vomiting on everything in the area to make it a little bit harder for the survivors with the anti-loop and whatnot if they want to remain healthy. But still not finding anybody just yet. Crows in the vicinity leads us to believe that there is nobody here, even though once upon a time there well and truly could have been. And look at those scratch marks just sitting over here over at 3. Rotation off the gen straight into 2. Don't know who that survivor is, but it leads me to believe that it is Cash, since he is the only survivor not currently on a generator. We have Nui and Addict over in the background somewhere bottom side of the map. Corrupt Intervention still hurting our top side. Red Blood Pool, if we do need it, straight here, and we are going to be seeing our ace pre-drop the pallet. It's going to be New in chase right now, and we do manage to get the projectiles onto him as we do vault it once over and twice over. $100 in hand. How about we count the 50s? No. How about we break the pallet and stop playing silly around it? I like that idea. But Haxel still opting to commence chase onto here. He's going to be playing around the long side of the rock. He does have pallet possession and needed to actually connect that swing to make it worth his while. Unfortunately, that does just extend the chase of Nu for a little bit longer without a worry in the world. Cash and Addict getting very close on their generator, and it seems to be a double. But regardless, Volt comes in from Haxel, who's going to block the window with Bamboozle, and looking at the build, we have the likes of Corrupt Intervention, Eruption, and Pain Resonance, which is stock standard stuff. That's going to be a really weird Jiggy at the Shack pallet. Maybe debating with his demons whether he should throw it or not. Not quite too sure, but still have this very nice filler pallet over on bottom mid here, where it is going to be going down, and it's going to be breaking straight away. Haxel back on the case, commencing the chase again once onto Nu. Vaulting the window even to block the L wall, but does still have access to the Ormond tile. Yes, second generator in the trial procking as well, so hopefully he can get this down sooner rather than later. But Nu making it extremely hard for Haxel to be working with, playing out of his mind, back into the L, straight back into the Ormond filler, pre-drops it this time, and can make back to the T! Or he can just wrap around it once more and fake the vault and go down, which it will aid Haxel. I mean, maybe I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself. I predicted it, and I think it maybe would have panned out a little bit better in my head. I don't know if we would have quite made the T. So we definitely were forced just to use the palette of 8 once more, but that will result in the down. The first Pain Resonance of the trial as well, that will be hitting Cash's generator, or will it? Is there another generator in the map that's actually a little bit more progressive? It seems to be over at 5, which is the other generator, maybe just level with Cash's generator. So there is a lot of pressure on the map here, Ghosty. Yeah, Ghosty.
Yeah, no, considering that that chase from Nu just bought 2 generators popping plus a third from Cash right around the corner, this is an incredible start. This is what you want to be seen in a playset if you're playing Survivor. And Gospel is definitely applying that pressure to Haxel. Yes, we've got 2 of our survivors infected, one of them being the Hooked survivor, and Gibbsy also infected as well. But that doesn't mean that we have 2 survivors that can just comfortably work those infected generators and not have to worry about losing their beloved health state, as the infection will remove it. But third generator of the trial being popped. Cash already immediately onto another one as well. This is looking a bit scary for Haxel, as the 4th gen of the trial does pop as well. I believe Cash was on this generator over on the 11 side. Yes, they have been working this 11 gen, but it is infected now. So unless Cash wants to just forgo their health and remove that healthy state from their survivor, they can't work on that 11 gen anymore. But this being Software 1, we're going to have an incredible split, I believe, with the gens at ourselves. And yeah, look at that. We've got the most furthest away possible gens we could be wanting with 11 and 5. Cash coming in to make sure that we don't give an unneeded hit. Maybe a bit too early, I think. Maybe we could have left that for a bit longer. Maybe unsure if that our survivor was able to make it down to that mid sort of 10 filler palette. Gibbsy, though, playing for their life right now around this main filler, as well as Cash as well, there for a hit take as well. Both survivors now injured and every survivor now infected. But they do have the strongest loot by far of the map to play with main. But with that, all that being done was enough to buy that last generator to pop. We are now at endgame with only one stage on the board. Haxel definitely wants to secure at least one more down. Gibbsy being down here would be great and a much needed for Team Envy to at least secure those extra 3 stages. But obviously, Cash getting their infection removed means they can come in now for hit takes and try and send it all the way down to the bottom of the map. But Gibbsy will be hit through the body block, so unfortunately we'll be getting slowed and Cash will be immediately reinfected. We do have a lot of pools that we can be using to cleanse, though. It is not over yet. This will be our second fresh hook of the trial. Pain Res no longer matter. Eruption doesn't even matter. We only really now have Bamboozle to play for, but this is a good drag over towards our main building side, meaning our survivors are not only going to need to all cleanse, but if we get our Corrupt Purge as well, this could get very dire for our survivor side. But obviously, they've played this incredibly well. We have got 2 stages on the board. 2. For this entire match. And with grabbing power, we managed to slip the unhook through. New now clearing their infection to try and give themselves a healthy state as Haxel grabs their Corrupt Purge. Corrupt Purge. The Corrupt Purge comes through, but the head-on just removes it. We no longer have Corrupt Purge anymore. And with New having that health state, this could be the 4 out of this stage with only 2 stages on the board. We are able to slip past New though, and unfortunately we don't get the hit take on. I think this is another Orman tile to secure the out for Cash, so they will be slowed at this current stage. New taking chase from Haxel, and this could snowball very much at this stage. We have to be careful that we're not giving up too many stages for the 4 out. As much as 3 stages from Cash would be unfortunate, we don't want to be having New slowed here as well, and with the Vomit coming through, we are getting ever so closer to being infected, broken, and being able to be M1 down again. Thankfully, we do have the pallet of the Orman tile. We have bought enough time, though, with that infection to get the pickup back onto Cash. The Orman tile pallet immediately goes down, but this is all we really have to play, sending it for the window. But we get medium vaulted, unfortunately, for Cash, so they will be going down again, and I think this is where Gospel will be accepting. We can't really do much more. We tried to push for that 4-out to only make it a 2-stage game, but at this point, let's not play it too risky. Let's just give up those 3 stages onto Cash and make it so that we're at a 5-stage.
But loading in now. So 4 stages on the board. What do you have to do if you are the survivors? I think, you have to kind of just go back to the basics realistically, and it's always going to go back to the basics, especially with Plague being a very macro intensive killer. It is just long chases, cleansing where the generators have been done after getting your first 2 generators done, which means for a first strong chase. Mid to late game, same kind of deal. You saw Gospel just basically never going down and playing their saves very patiently and waiting for the correct opportunity to actually do so, where the Plague just wasn't in the line of sight or within the vicinity. As for builds, I'm going to be interested to see what's being brought in here, because last time we did see Corrupt Intervention, Eruption, Pain Resonance, and Bamboozle, but it tends to fluctuate with some of the teams in OSL, and we tend to see a lot more Thanatophobia. And as I switch over to my second monitor and watch the game, I am realizing we have brought in Thanatophobia. A little bit different on the add-ons. We've brought only 1 apple this time around, and I'm not too sure what the other one's called. And I'm not even too sure what it does. Increases object infection by 30 seconds. The seal. Okay, it's a little bit different this time around. And we do have the likes of, obviously, Pain Resonance and Eruption never leaving your side on a set like this. And Corrupt Intervention is just a no-brainer. But But yeah, going to be trying to take advantage of that Thanatophobia as we get our first tag on the board here. Cash going to be commencing chase here onto the jungle gym and playing a really wacky mind game that actually has worked and in his favor and has spelt the down of Mango. We need to be playing the check spots just a little bit better than that. We were a little bit hesitant after the sound mind game over towards the long wall there, which I thought was a pretty ambitious and crazy attempt, since, if we just greeted that entirely, we make the main building for free where the bros just sitting there doing circles. But Mango has crumbled underneath the pressure. That will be him on the hook over at 1. So Cash going to be taking his vomit onto Mango's hook, traversing back into the middle of the map where he can safely just hold the choke point. Realistically, he knows the survivors are over at bottom side working those corner generators over at 5 and 7, so has decided to actually infect 5, so it's going to momentarily stop the generator there from whoever's been working it. Another set of vomit going all the way over at 8, and some over at 7 too, hitting that generator, so he's in such a very good spot. And we see the crow fly down over towards Water Tower. Not too sure if anybody's there, but corruption in our back pocket. Here we go, the red blood pool. Now we can make for some fancy one-hit downs onto any infected, injured survivors. Sane and Slay actually still healthy in the trial, so that's a plus side for our survivors. Cash, though, does see that they have rotated off of the hook here. There's a scratch marks leading towards the logs, but he's going to be trying to cut them off through the mid side of the guts of 3. Charging up that vomit, not quite connecting onto, I believe it was Sane off of that generator, and it's going to be Mango in chase again. He is susceptible to a down via long distance, or distance in any regard. And as I say that, the projectile's hitting him straight in the back. It's going to be his second stage of the trial, and even a pain resonance to slow the game down even more. Very slow start for our survivors here, and with 2 stages only allocated towards our killer. It's only a matter of time before he gets his next 4 for his win condition, or does he? But if we want to think about the survivors actually taking away this set, the chases need to be a lot longer here, Ghosty, and I don't think they're going to be.
Yeah, no, we're going to need a massive cook-up from Mango here, as it looks like Cash only has eyes for them at the moment. Doing a quick little check on the lock to make sure that if a head-on was in play, they would at least be infected for their troubles and for the nuisance. And we do see Sane coming in to try and give Mango some of that support to try and extend their chases, maybe try and get out of this bottom side. Will be, unfortunately, eating the infection, so our third survivor will now be infected. And with Thana in play, that means that our third survivor would be broken permanently, but it looks like we're not going to be gaining our 4th and most biggest jump with Thana's power, with that all 4 survivors being infected and broken. Our 4th survivor is unfortunately out of the trial with still 5 generators remaining, and I think the Seal add-on has been coming into play very heavily with that extra time that it takes for the generators to become uninfected. Alongside Thana as well, everything is just all building up for our survivors and slowing things down immensely. And Haxel's in a bit of a rough spot, opting to take the window because I don't think they're going to make the pallet, so they will be going down as well as our first generator of the trial pops. But this is our 3rd stage of the board. This is a very dangerous position for our survivors, especially with Cash opting for this basement hook as well. And if Haxel dies, I'm pretty sure that's wraps. That is the set win for Gospel, since that will be 6 stages, and that's all we are needing currently. So our survivors are going to need to play exceptionally well coming up. We're going to probably need to see Sane, as much as you don't want to be obviously going for a basement unhook, injured, most likely being the one to come in, so we avoid that final survivor becoming infected. But Sane is unfortunately caught out on the edge map side of Shaq, fully sending it into Shaq, taking window though, not confident in the ability to go for the unhook onto Haxel just yet, and just doing a massive jiggy up towards the top mid side of the map, holding their distance at the moment since we don't have the corrupt pool, the corrupt purge on hand to be able to try and go for those long range downs. But Sane has kind of gotten a bit close to where Slay is at the moment with that gem popping over on the log side, so we basically know where both of our remaining survivors are, one being injured and broken in chase currently, meaning that Slay is the only person that can rotate for the unhook onto Haxel. And once that unhook comes through, Slay becomes infected as well, so we will be losing all of our health states permanently from that point onwards, and it looks like we are dropping chase onto Sane to secure either the infection or try and prevent our survivors from making it out of the basement, putting a massive amount of vomit down to speed up the infection rate onto Slay. But looks like we are going to be committing towards Haxel. Slay doing a good job, though, to block the pallet in Shack to allow Haxel to make a lot of distance, but Slay has to play for their life now. We need literally a 3-gen chase, plus the exit gates being powered, to get out of this trial and take this set with the 3 stages already on board. But Slay just has nothing left over, so is just sending it all the way to our corner of 5. I believe we did see some eruption aura on that gen down on the 7 side as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we do, and we have, unfortunately for our survivor side, a Painter's Hook on hand towards our bottom side. Sane has been able to make it all the way up to the top side, so that was Slay, I believe, that we would have been giving... Oh no, Haxel that we would have been giving Aura to. Oh my god, there's so much going on at the moment, I'm losing track of what my survivors are, but... First hook onto Slay. 5th stage on the board. We are at the tie condition at the moment. We can't be hooked one singular time more here. No matter who it is, no one can get hooked. We need to get 3 generators done and everyone out the door at the moment, and Sane has to be the one to do it. This is where it's going to be match deciding, basically. Window at 3, now blocked by Bamboozle, meaning Sane no longer has that availability of that window, but does have the top mid section to play. Going for a few little mind games again, worked the first time, but doesn't look like Sane is going to be falling for it as we saw before, sending it all the way back towards our 3 side again, but we have no pallet, we only have the matchstick window, so unfortunately that will be the down onto Sane Hunter, and I believe the set point needed for Gospel.
That it is, and it was looking extremely dire with still 3 generators to go. Nowhere near the finishing point still, and that will, yeah, obviously be Gospel taking away the entire series like you had just said, so props to them. Unlucky for Envy, unfortunately. I think they would have wanted to do a little bit better on their pick and even, yeah, the dredge set, but regardless, this will be Slay just going down straight in front of these generators here over at bottom, so Cash was just happy to take that chase, take another remaining stage there, and this can potentially still be the 4K2, 4K1, where we are going to be hooking here more towards bottom half, mid-bottom, and it's going to be kicking the generator as well to get our eruption procs in. Just Thanatophobia doing absolute wonders as far as regressing the game goes down, and even with a tunnel out and just the lost bit of percentage there, as there's only 3 survivors currently injured. It's still very workable for Cash. And no, he has the red vomit now. Please spare them. Oh my god. We see somebody just trying to go for the cross point, ready for the pull as well. And it's going to be, I think that's Haxel in the background on the Jake Park. He has broken line of sight, but he has not gotten out of danger as he has relinquished pallet possession and will be going down shortly after. Cash now going to be trying to cut the second rotation from Sane. A little bit, wow, I thought that was going to connect and I would have popped hard for it, but he did not. As we do try to block him off from one, he has baited us out entirely and going back around the logs, and he's trying to really send it down towards the guts of the middle of the map, try to get that unhook onto Slay with life. Still not enough distance being bought after that. He is just forced over into 4. Cash, again with the vomit, does not connect there because we did not elect to use the pallet. Really trying to get this fancy work, and I don't even know how much longer we have left of our power, but Cash seems to be pretty confident trying to use it. Can he get something for the Twitter? No. Nice crouch is coming in from Sane. Does use the window as well. We anticipate the back vault, but it did not happen. It did not pan out the way we envisioned in our heads, and Cash has sacrificed a lot of distance in regards to that. Now, it does allow Sane to actually get the pickup in the background, but from there on out, it is just going to be down, hit, chase, down, hit, chase, because you can't really work a generator with 2 survivors that are injured in the trial, or at least 1 down and 1 injured, because that's a mighty unfortunate problem. So 4K3 seems to be the result that will be solidified here after the fact that we do get this down, which this is the chase that we needed so much earlier in the game. But, I mean, as I say that, I don't think it would have lasted this long given the fact that if it were to happen a little bit earlier in the trial, because Cash did go for the fancy shots with his red vomit, I think he would have just walked down and played it a little bit more safe instead of going for something a little bit longer distance. However, I will say that, yeah, I wanted to see something like that a little bit more towards the middle of the game. But regardless, that will be the 4K3. That will be Gospel taking it home 2-0. Ghosty, is there anything you want to say before we get our next series set up for our audience watching?
Yeah, no, honestly, Envy tried to put up the fight, but Gospel came in, guns a blazing, and